what is going on, and welcome back to What Shall We Do Next. I'm Mike, your host, and I hope you guys are having the best day ever. Before I get started, guys, if you are new here, please subscribe if you haven't already done that. We're on the road to 82,000 subscribers, and I would love you to join me on this journey. So hit subscribe and join the fam. And also, guys, go follow me on all my social media. Links are in the description. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even Snapchat, so go follow me on all of those. And as you guys know, I recently started a Facebook account, so you can add me on Facebook, and we can be Facebook friends, so go do that. Link is in the description. And finally, be sure to turn on the notification bell right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified every time I upload a video. Thank you. But once again, I am coming back at you guys with another creepy video, and today we are talking about another scary story. And this scary story is called The Farmhouse. So, the story of The Farmhouse is about these two young boys who go on an adventure and go exploring in the woods in the countryside when they come across an abandoned old creepy house. But enough of the jibber jabber, let's get right over to the story. The Farmhouse. Every summer, my mother would take me to visit our relatives who lived out in the country. My cousin and I were almost the same age, and we were always up to mischief. We spent our days out in the fields, exploring the area, making bow and arrows, sharpening knives, throwing rocks, and climbing trees, and even tracking wild animals. One day, we set out on a long walk across the fields, not really having any idea where we were going. Sometimes we like to get ourselves lost and then try to find our way home. After a few hours of walking, it was getting late in the afternoon when we came across a farmhouse that looked as if it was abandoned. On the property, there was a small storage shed. So we jumped over the fence and decided to find out what was inside. We found that the doors were locked. There was a small keyhole, but we couldn't see through it because it was blocked by dust and thick spider webs. We walked towards the house and noticed that the front door was standing open, but there was no sign of life coming from within. The yard was overgrown with grass and weeds. The only sound we could hear was an old windmill nearby, rattling in the breeze. I went to the door of the house and shouted, "Hello?" But there was no answer. It was then that the smell hit me. It was the stench of damp, mold, and decay. I stepped inside. There were clothes and papers everywhere, and some cardboard boxes. There was an old bed, some racks of moth-eaten clothes, a leather armchair. I took a few steps forward, and the smell seemed to get a whole lot worse. A feeling of intense uneasiness washed over me, and I wanted to turn and run away. Just then, something caught my eye. At the foot of the bed, between some boxes, lay a head. It was covered in gray hair. There was an old man lying on his back, his face turned upwards, and his eyes open. He was dead. I let out a horrific yell, then grabbed my cousin by the arm, and we both ran as fast as we could. As we fled across the yard, we were passing the shed outside when the locked door suddenly crashed open and an old lady was standing there. Her hair was in disarray, and when she smiled, her lips parted, revealing a row of rotten teeth. She was carrying a bloody knife in her hand. She made an attempt to grab me as I rushed past, but I managed to dodge her and kept running. I didn't dare to look back. I just ran and ran and ran as fast as I could. It was a few minutes later that I realized my cousin wasn't with me. I stopped in my tracks, breathing heavily, and looked around. He was nowhere to be seen. My heart sank. I started running again, desperately trying to get back to my aunt and uncle's house as quickly as possible. Eventually, I saw the light of their house in the distance. As soon as I reached home, I ran inside and called out to my mother. My relatives gathered around me as I started babbling and begging them to go find my cousin. My uncle got into his truck and brought me with him. Eventually, we found the old farmhouse, but my cousin wasn't there. Neither was the old man or the old woman. After searching for a while, my uncle called the police. A few days later, my cousin still had not been found. The farm was searched from top to bottom, but there was no trace of him, and he remains missing to this day. It's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in the region. I don't know what could have happened to my cousin that day, but I am glad it didn't happen to me. Oh, are we done? Wow. Well, that was cool. I really enjoyed it. I was asleep through the whole story. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just kidding with you guys. Now, I thought this was a pretty weird story. I don't know what could have possibly happened to this guy's cousin, but it seemed a little messed up at the end of the way. He was just like, he cared more about himself than his cousin. I mean, maybe just because he's a kid, and kids are more afraid of, like, they're more afraid of anything happening to them. Like, when you get older, you would do anything to protect your loved ones, like your family. Like, if I was to have to choose between me or somebody that I love, I would sacrifice myself, because that's the grown-up. It's like a moral obligation that you have this thing where we feel like we have to, like, if there's a choice between me or this other person who I love, then I'm obviously gonna choose to sacrifice myself. But maybe because he's a kid, he didn't really, you know, kids don't really feel that extent of love like we do. Like, they don't feel like that need to sacrifice themselves. You guys get what I'm saying? This kid just, like, he's like, whoa, I don't know what happened to my cousin, but I am glad it wasn't me. I am so glad it wasn't me. Thank God that it was him. That's kind of like the impression I got, but I just guess it's because he's a kid. But overall, I thought it was a good story. Definitely creepy. I don't know what could have happened, but that is why you don't go wandering off in the woods when you're in the country, because you're gonna find weird redneck hillbillies like this, and they're gonna come get you. But I don't know, I think it's weird the way they just disappeared, especially since they were old. So, like, how can two old people just disappear like that, especially when one of them was dead? That doesn't make sense to me, unless, I don't know. Maybe she was a cannibal. But I thought it was a pretty cool story. Reminded me a little bit of, like, the old TV show that I used to watch when I was a kid called Goosebumps, or Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was another one too. Both of those shows are like, they were like scary movies for me as a kid. But hey ho, what do you know? But my question to all of you for question of the day is, what do you think these people were, and what do you think happened to the kid, the kid's cousin? What do you think happened to him? And what do you think these people were? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. That is question of the day. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please slap a like on it. Let's see if we can go for 82 billion likes on this video. I would really appreciate that. And if you guys didn't see my previous video, which was about a story, a lot of people were thinking it was actually Jeff the Killer, and it wasn't. It was not a Jeff the Killer story. Everyone's like, this is Jeff the Killer. It actually wasn't supposed to be Jeff the Killer, because the story's called Go to Sleep, which, yes, you're correct, there is a Jeff the Killer story called that, and that's why he's known to say, like, in the story. But I have done a Jeff the Killer video. There's a two-part to it, so if you guys want to watch that, you can. It's on my channel. But this story is not necessarily about Jeff the Killer, but it's just, the reason it was called Go to Sleep was because that's what the mother said. It was a quotation from the actual story, and the only part that said go to sleep was the mother when she was saying to the kid, go to sleep. So it's not really Jeff the Killer, but it's kind of similar. I see what you guys were thinking, especially with the picture. Kind of looked like Jeff the Killer. But I don't think it was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be something completely different. But if you guys didn't see that video and you want to watch it, it was still a pretty cool story, then click on the outro right about here. It will take you over to that. Or if you just want to watch another random video, then you can click this side and it will do the same thing. But remember the most important thing of all, guys, chase your dreams. I love you all. Don't let anybody bring you down, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another video. Peace out.